to answer any. Um, and I would like to office for today. We have Suzanne and Anna from Grant Associates to be speaking about developing remote internships and converting internships person into internships. I know that that has been for a lot of our leaders, so I thank them for coming to present. And without further ado, I will pass it over to Anna and Suzanne.
Thank you so much, Treva. My name is Suzanne Griffin. I'm a Career Services lead at the Brooklyn Workforce One Center. I'm also a trainer within that group, and I'm also a corporate trainer for Grant Associates. And Anna?
And my name is Anna Borshchenko, and I'm happy to see a lot of familiar names and faces. And I'm a business service manager for the CTE ISB Industry Scholars Program. Very excited to connect today and share some of the best practices we've come along through the last 5 years, and just to share the tidbits, and hopefully all of you guys can take away something that will definitely resonate, and you can apply it pretty much immediately after the session. So looking forward to talking to you today.
Great. So this is the agenda for this very brief hour that we have you, and now it's more like 50 minutes. It's pretty aggressive. It's pretty ambitious, but we're going to do our best. We're going to talk about what makes a CTE Scholar Superstar. Describe a little bit about what makes our students or your students standouts. What makes a good match to an internship, to an employer. We're going to talk about the job titles that you should be seeking online, and they will align to the industries that are eligible for remote internships as opposed to the in-person internships. And then we're going to discuss how to find the employers. And there's active, passive ways to do it, all sorts of resources that we're going to present to you. A lot of information will be forwarded to you by the host. So that's great. You'll have, but you can take screenshots. That's always another good way to capture information. We're going to do a live demo. We're going to actually, Anna is going to lead you through qualifying a lead and actually looking at all the parts of a job description so that you can understand her thinking, because she's super expert at this. And then answer the question, what do I say? What do I actually say when I pick up the phone and call an employer? We're going to give you strategies, things to keep in your mind when you're on the phone with an employer, etc. Then we're going to give you really specific guidance. How do you organize yourself when you go to pick up the phone? What information should you have at your fingertips, and what should you capture from the call? We're going to actually do another live role play and have a back and forth between a potential employer, and Anna's going to play one of the coordinators. Let's say that we get the internship, it's secured. Now what? She's going to walk you through paperwork and what the next steps are with the employer. And finally, we're going to end on a real high note. We have Carl Landegger here, and he's going to show you some of the work that these students have been producing, his program, a little bit about the successes in his particular school, so that hopefully when you leave, you're inspired, because that would be the ultimate goal, is to inspire you to go out there and kill it. And then we'll answer any questions. And if we run out of answers, there's always the chat. We'll feel free to put things in the chat as we go along. And then we can get back to you after this whole day is over. So with that said, that's the entire agenda. So we're going to talk about or Anna is going to talk about what makes a CTE Scholar a superstar. So take it away, Anna.
Thank you, Suzanne. So as I feel it's very important to, before you do the business development, to know what it is and really be connected and proud and excited about the students that you represent. and in business development, I feel like this is my always go-to. I want to be centered around how proud I am of students, even though I don't even know I don't really know them individually, but I'm proud of the students and their skill sets and the programs that you're part of, and just a general CTE alignment and how connected it is to the real world and demands of current employers. So I always, this is my kind of, if you want to get centered, I know everyone has a lot of different pieces, and a lot of you are teachers, so you're dealing with a lot of different pieces of the puzzle, so to speak. So this is just kind of to center yourself and be proud of the students, and just think about how different and how unique and how qualified they are. So what makes and what differentiates our CTE students from the others? Definitely passion and desire for industry and knowledge, and industry knowledge and experience, because these students are already in the process. It almost doesn't matter how they got here, but they are getting these advanced classes. They're building skill sets without even realizing how much needed and how much demand there is in the market, in the workplace market for these skills. So that makes me excited. And I know a lot of employers find this as a big value for that. We also know that students are quick learners. Last year has given them tremendous advantage in learning how to operate in remote environment. And just that alone, it already differentiates this set of students with actual practices and applications of submitting assignments, to working remotely in teams and projects, using different platforms to organize themselves in a digital cloud environment. That's already giving them that advantage. Technology and social media natives, that goes without saying. Obviously, all the students in CTE have that technical inclination and preferences. So technology is definitely being very strong, I want to say, a center bone for all the students here. So strong hands, hard skills and soft skills. Again, we do talk a lot about industry alignment, transferable skill set, and the skill sets that students are building by using different softwares and applications and programs is essential in the world of work right now. We are excited that all students have resumes, and at times when employers are more demanding and just want to make sure that this is the right connection for them. All students have resumes. Oftentimes these resumes are outstanding. They're so unique and kind of highlight really the personality of students. So that's exciting to offer employers. And also we're talking about cultural fit. And I think in a digital world, cultural fit is more about the attitude. It's more about curiosity. It's more about being open-minded and ready to contribute and be flexible with the work. So I know students have all of this and more, and they have their unique niche interests and passions. And this is what makes me excited to pick up the phone and say, hello, I have the right match for you. Next slide, please. When we talk about matches, and when I talk, and I know a lot of you have completed a lot of different workshops and work-based learning trainings in what it all means. But when I, as a business developer person for this program, when I think about the matches, I think about alignment and more of a holistic alignment here. I do think about students. I do think about employers a lot. And when I think about the employers, I think about people who are willing to be flexible, to give different assignments to students, and to really sense the strength of students and help them build and offer projects that will help students build those strengths. And when I think about students, I always think about, students who are curious, as I mentioned before, students who are eager to apply and offer solutions and apply their skill sets that they've learned. Students can verbally communicate well and kind of find out, ask open-ended questions, and if they don't know, they'll be able to voice it and say, I'm not sure how to do this, but I'm excited to figure it out. So some of the things that we from years of experience doing this, wanted to highlight here. So areas of student interests, learning styles, and communication styles as well, and that goes both ways for employers and students. Family and cultural backgrounds. I am always excited to talk to new employer hosts and tell them about gender. We're working with female students, and a lot of employers are excited now about female empowerment. We're talking about the language and multilingual capacity that students have, and always try to ensure that if there is an opportunity for bilingual students to offer that as a strength to all the other skills that they have, employers are really excited to hear that. Sensory issues. So we definitely want to make sure that everyone is on the same page and really knows, that we have all the employers have a lot of demands and students have a lot to offer, but we want to make sure that there is alignment in work, alignment in expectation, alignment in knowing that these are still high school students and they still learning and guidance is needed. So a lot of things to consider before, again, this is all before we could pick up the phone. It's kind of thinking about all these things, measurable post-secondary goals. And here we're talking about training plan and thinking about what we put as learning objectives for the student, and knowing that employer is flexible and will add on to that if needed. When we're talking about targets, businesses that relate to student interest and passion, because besides technical skills, all students have very unique interest in either current interest or future interest. And when we work with matches and alignment, we considering not only the technical skills, but also those other skills that and passions the students have. So students will be excited about different internship opportunities on multiple levels. Organizations with missions that value diversity and just in general value diversity. A lot of organizations are seeking it, and we are excited to connect students nationally and internationally to some of the assignments and people and just projects that take place around the world. So all of those things are part of matches and part of kind of thinking about alignment. And we didn't even get to the industry alignment, but this is more of aligning cultural and holistic alignment between businesses and students. Again, a lot of times I do mention early on that if employers do enjoy and find connection with the students, that they consider offering a position to students after internship is completed. We do have a good number of employers that do that, and that's always exciting to hear. And this is an opportunity for some students. It could be opportunity of a lifetime. So I am very eager and excited to connect again and help people connect in such a way. It's very meaningful. It's very rewarding knowing that you're changing the students' lives and easing employers' life, because employers have just as a hard time finding quality employees. And when they see a talent this young, they want to stay connected and engaged for years to come. And again, we are talking about transitioning from in-person internships to remote. A lot of business development, it's important for business development person, which all of you will take some part in that, to know how to find leads, and leads could be cold leads, and leads could be warm leads, and leads could be hot leads. So when we talk about remote work, we definitely, and will continue through the presentation and give you information in just a few seconds on how to differentiate between those leads and how to make your work easier in that sense, and really connect in the moment immediately with employers who are already seeking help in the remote setting. Next slide, please. All right, we thought it was also important to give samples, and these are samples of job titles that you can just take from this page and start looking for them online immediately. And these are broken down by industries, so it's easier to keep the alignment. And again, these are just some samples that fit on the slide for everyone to see. And there are many more. And as you all know, these are the industries that really converted more successfully to remote environment, and new job titles pop up as demands in the industries change. So these are some of the industry, so I would say all of them have intern at the end of it, right? All of these job descriptions, but oftentimes these are entry-level job descriptions, job titles. So with that in mind, when we put intern at the end of it, it just makes us qualify a lead a little bit easier and faster. When I say qualify a lead, every time I go online and I find an opportunity that could be a potential opportunity, in the moment of about 2 minutes, I need to decide, is this a good lead to pursue? And we'll go in detail, kind of showing a live demo on what I mean by that. But before, time is of essence everywhere and all the times. And I know a lot of you teaching and working with students and grading papers and creating new assignments and connecting with employers. So there's a lot. So how do you maximize your time and minimize the time that will be wasted in the sense of finding, connecting, or pursuing an employer that's not gonna be interested? So this is the moment in time where we're gonna try to, put a little bit or take a little bit of opportunity to, show you the thinking behind it. And as you can see, and I'll go quickly through it, but in IT, there's web development, there's cybersecurity, IT analyst, help desk, support desk, just general IT intern that could have a variety of tasks assigned, tech support intern, database management intern. The list goes on, further, but these are just some that I wanted to highlight. And again, depending on what kind of curriculums you're offering, depending on what kind of certification students are getting, this could be expanded. For business and finance, we have accounting intern, paralegal, business operations, business development, business growth strategy is a big one because a lot of people are looking to build businesses and strategize around it. And depending if it's an online business, if there's a social media component to the business, this list also goes on. For engineering and architecture, it's more specific, and students do need to have, quite an experience in AutoCAD and Revit and blueprints, and just having a creative mind in finding solutions in the architectural world. So these are a little bit more specific and again, more aligned to CTE industries. So industrial design, we have architecture intern, engineering intern, drafting intern is a big one, interior design intern. So a lot of companies are building their pipelines, creating new styles, working with clients in doing the research for some of the requirements that they put out for design projects. So this would be all kind of within that realm. When we talk about hospitality, again, hospitality is changing because hospitality now becomes more of a customer service and customer orientation for online inquiries. So again, we're talking about customer service support, assistant intern, customer guest engagement. We have a big e-commerce interest and customer service intern, hospitality intern. There's a lot of events that are taking place online. So there's definitely event management, online event management interns. Again, this list expands and grows, every day. So this is just a capture of current titles that you can easily use to start finding opportunities. Within media tech and design, these are just a few: digital marketing intern, social media intern, and graphic design intern, operations intern. But again, this is quite wide. And, if we're talking about specific skills that students have in media and graphic design, this list also is quite expendable. I think the next thing that we're going to do is go through a live demo. And I think a lot of you will find it really interesting, and hopefully you'll find it useful as well. So we're going to dive in, and Suzanne is going to kind of operate us here.
To go to the internet so that we can show you what to do. Before we do that, explain the filters, because the filters have to do with searching for titles in databases, online databases. Google, it's a database, right? So other online databases. Why don't you say a little bit about these 5 filters?
Okay, so as I was mentioning earlier, time is important. So when I'm searching online or when I'm looking for a potential employer, this is what I'm keeping in mind. I want to know if an internship is listed as paid or unpaid. Why? If an internship is paid, it means employer has funding, and they could be, they could be more picky in the talent that they bring in. If internship is listed as unpaid or for credit, it means, obviously there might be less interest from the student or a job seeker, and because it's unpaid experience, life is expensive. Everybody wants to get paid. So this employer is going to be a lot more receptive of the program that we have, of the CTE ISB Industry Scholars Program, or if you're using the SIF funding, applies the same way. So anything that will be paid will anything that's listed as unpaid will generate a lot more interest in what we have to offer as far as the student internship placement. When I'm looking at skills required, next item, every job description that's listed online has a number of skills and requirements. And if I know that the job description is listing some of the things that our students can do, I can start strongly by saying I have just the right candidate for the opportunity that you have listed because of these skills. So I have a lot of information before I start making a call or start making a consideration to continue kind of developing a certain lead. When I'm looking at types of businesses, I do want to make sure that we are working with high school seniors. Students will be in the range of 16 to 18 years old, approximately. So I definitely want to make sure that the business is the right business for the student. So there's no nudity, there's no content that would be outside of norm or just the standard comfort level for students of, kind of genders and different cultural backgrounds. So I'm kind of scanning for that right off. I want to make sure that whatever the business is, I would want to put my child in that business and want to make sure that they have a good learning opportunity. When I'm looking for contact information, a lot of businesses are listing their phone numbers, but some businesses do not. And they put in a form to fill out for the inquiry. So again, depending how excited I am about that opportunity in that business, if it's hard to obtain contact information, then I might just want to skip it because it just makes it that much harder and will take that much longer to get in touch with decision maker and persuade them to take on a student. So I'm always kind of very mindful of how easily I can get in touch with employer. And if it's hard, I move on, because again, my time and your time is super valuable. And we want to make sure we qualifying a lead pretty much within 2-minute time. Company reviews, that's a interesting one to have. If company has bad reviews, and this is reviews for their services, or maybe, if you go on Glassdoor and you see bad reviews from their employees, then I might just want to skip it. I want to make sure this is a quality internship for students, and just having that public information of what the company offers, the product or the service support. I want to make sure that students are going to be in the learning capacity. And yeah, I think this is really important one to consider as well when you just looking to qualify a lead.
So there's so many ways to find employer leads, so many ways to find these internship leads. These are some that have to do with the community, connections within a local community or connections within a national community. It does not have to be in your neighborhood anymore. We're talking about remote opportunities. And Anna said this, but I'll expand on it. This is a rare moment in time when, because of remote work, because of COVID, really this internship could be in Kansas City, Missouri. This internship the company could be based in Chicago. There's nothing to prevent anybody from working in a different state, in a different country. I mean, why not? But having said that, the local community resources that we recommend, Rotary Club, Kiwanis International, Lions Club, if you're in New York City, the business improvement districts are aggregates of small businesses that plop their money into common nonprofit, and they really do service to their local communities. They're guided by location, literally geographic location. Great resource. The local chapter of the National Federation of Independent Trade Organizations, the ITO, it's terrific. Chambers of commerce, there's probably, I don't know, 35 chambers of commerce, maybe more in New York City. At last check, it's probably more than that. Community boards, not sure if everybody's familiar, but there are dozens and dozens and dozens of New York City NYC.gov community boards. The ones with I'll just give you a secret little tip, the ones with their own nonprofit website are the best. Community-based organizations for immigrants, manta.com, burningglass.com. And finally, this is something I'm hoping would be interesting to some of you. The New York Public Library has a business center at Stavros Niarchos Foundation Library. Okay, it used to be the Sybil Library, SIBL, Science, Industry, and Business Library. It was at 34th and Madison. They recently, like November, relocated. I think they're on 5th Avenue. I think it's 41st, 42nd, 43rd, somewhere around there, 40th, somewhere in there. And they are, those research librarians are no joke. You can send them a ticket and ask for them to do a research project, and they will email you back results. So who's to prevent you from saying, I want a list of all of the e-marketing or e-commerce businesses in the 5 boroughs? It might take them a little bit, but they will deliver a list. It could be hundreds of businesses long that would take you forever to find, but because they have access to a wide variety of databases, they're able to do this research very quickly and efficiently. It's a good, it's actually a really good source of finding individual businesses to contact if you're, looking within the 5 boroughs, if that's what you're doing in the moment.
Suzanne, quick question. Will we have time to do
we're gonna,
demonstration?
Yeah, I wanted to cover both slides and
Okay.
then do the demo, just so that we can kind of like cover it all and then move on. So these are passive sources of advertising, right? No, we should do the demo now, right?
Just want to make sure we get
Yeah,
to the
we should do the
demo.
demo now. I'm sorry. I was going to do this one, but then I thought, no, we're going to say different things. So I'm going to stop sharing the PowerPoint and hold on one second. Sorry. Stop sharing this, and I'm going to share my internet, and I'm going to go to social media intern marketing. Okay, so I'm going to share this screen now. Sorry. Everything's sluggish right now. I don't know why. It's probably because everybody in the world is on the internet, and so everything's sluggish. Sorry about that. Okay, why is it not letting me share my screen? Oh, there we go. Okay. Here we go. Wow, it's really sluggish, guys. Sorry about that. Let me know when you can see the screen. Yeah. Okay, great. Whew, very slow. Okay, so I typed into Google a database, the Oracle, right? Social media intern marketing unpaid. So I'm hitting keywords that are going to bring up results that are going to be relatively more bang for your buck, more interesting than just typing in social media. You know, this is just one way of doing some business development. So what we see, and Anna, jump in, right? Okay, so you can just kind of explain what we're looking at.
Suzanne, if you don't mind clicking on 29 more jobs, that'd be great, just to have like a larger list.
Oh, sure, sure.
So as everyone can see, we have a lot of kind of opportunities that came up. And also here on the left side, you can see, the title of the internship. You can see if it's paid or unpaid. We have a filter for unpaid. You can see the company name. And you can also see where it's located. Anywhere will likely be remote. And then it says via, and it's listing a site where the opportunity is coming from. Couple of points here. Yep, you can see internships.com, AngelList. We have LinkedIn often, Indeed. A lot of different sites. Peer site, I'm not even sure what that is, but there's a lot of listings where these opportunities are coming from. Couple things to keep in mind here. If an opportunity is listed on LinkedIn, it might not be the opportunity you want to go after just because LinkedIn is a more expensive site, so more corporate clients are listing there. There might be a lot more gatekeepers in getting us to the decision making. There might be just too much of a wait time and kind of get the feedback and interest. It could work, but we find that it just takes a lot longer for it to bring in the connection for the opportunity for students. Another site that I'm going to mention is AngelList. This is a website where a lot of startups are listing interests. You will definitely find a lot of opportunities for unpaid internships there. However, please keep in mind that these are startups that are seeking for money from investors. Sometimes they do have investors. So as a result, they're going to be a lot more demanding. What they're looking for may be a little bit outside of comfort zone of what high school students can deliver. Again, not all opportunities, but if there are other places where we can find listings for internships, those would be preference or preferred in the way that we kind of seek out and try to minimize the time and kind of assess the employer lead. So that's one of the definitely things that we consider. Also, we have a listing here. Again, we're looking for unpaid. This is the employer out of state, as we can see, out of New York State.
Right, Newton, Mass.
Which is great because these are remote opportunities, and we are excited to connect students to remote anywhere, well, nationally. What I'm also looking for is making sure that there's clarity and there's enough description in the job description, right? Or in the opportunity description, because what oftentimes it comes off as very brief, and it means employer did not put enough time or attention to kind of break it down to tasks. And we do want employers to be organized, in managing students remotely. So just looking at the job description gives you a little bit of an idea of the type of employer it might be. I am looking, quickly at key responsibilities, looking at qualifications, want to make sure that students that I'm putting forward or I'm calling about will have the skills and qualifications that are important to this employer. Sometimes, if a majority of qualifications is met, that's still great. Not all of them would need to necessarily be met, but I want to make sure I kind of briefly look at that when I'm considering picking up the phone and calling employer or investing more time in developing this lead.
This one's simple. If you look at the required qualifications, they're looking for excellent writing and editing skills, attention to detail, the ability to multitask, creativity, and the ability to come up with interesting ideas, and basic computer literacy. So Word, Excel, Docs, PowerPoint, I'm sure Outlook or Gmail or something. This is really a pretty decent lead from one point of view because it's so basic in its scope and the requirements are so easily met. Create and maintain marketing content, digital campaign structure, and it's pretty general. What would you say if you saw this, Anna?
Yeah, definitely to go for it. And I'm just watching the time and, want to make sure we go through the rest of the presentation. But the next step would be I would look up this company. I would Google search it, want to make sure there is a phone number that I can find. And I would just pick up the phone and call them. If the phone number is not easily available, then I would move on to another opportunity. We definitely want to make sure that we can reach employer quickly.
Great. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to this PowerPoint. Sorry, it's so slow, guys. Let me know when you can see it.
Yep, we're back.
Wow, that's faster. Okay, so maybe we want to talk about this. This is yours.
Okay, so there are multiple ways of finding employers, and I'll just try to talk quicker because we still have a lot to cover. So when we finding employers, there's active ways and there's definitely passive ways, right? So active ways would be we're doing the search, we're doing the outreach, we're calling. Passive ways are really excellent ways as well, but it doesn't require as much time on our end to find opportunities. It's almost like letting opportunities come to us. So with that in mind, I'm sure a lot of you do that already, but if you have a school website, make sure you post something about internships and leave your contact information, let employers find you. If there's a social media page, definitely share some information there. Oftentimes, students already had some work experience and they have resumes that you have access to. Maybe take a look, ask students if they know of employer that would be interested, if they heard of someone or if they work for someone who needs an extra set of hands. And all of these things are very much familiar, and you probably do that already, but we want to make sure you have a kind of one slide where everything is listed. Definitely speak about these internships with your family and friends and business connections. And if you have a LinkedIn account, maybe post it there. There are a lot of niche industry boards. So if your students, let's say, are doing media and design and learning that, you can definitely find a lot of social media networking boards, and Eventbrite has a lot of virtual events nowadays. So that's a great opportunity. We do find some quality employers there. Alumni network is huge. And we're talking alumni. If you keep track with your students, a lot of students are excited to give back to the schools that they come from. So if they find opportunity, employment opportunity, I'm sure they can be, speaking highly of kind of showcasing the skills that they've obtained, and will like to welcome other students from their schools to give them similar opportunities. And then again, Google Maps. Google Maps is your go-to if you are looking for a specific business, if you are looking for a specific connection, if you are looking for like specific zone, that would be ideal place to go.
So I'm not going to do a live demo of the Google Maps technique, but if you would like to take a screenshot, now is the moment to do it because the instructions are on the right. The map is Google Maps. Everybody knows what it is. You basically, into the search box here on the top left, you would type in the kind of business that you're looking for: nonprofit, media, architecture, engineering, etc. And then when you hit enter, the map is going to reveal a whole bunch of red dots. These zoom controls at the bottom right will give you access to a very specific location and data coming from a real tight location. You play with the zoom buttons, you search this area. There's a button that comes up here at the top of the map. It says search this area. It refreshes the data request. Remember, it's Google search behind a map. So what happens is you wind up with all these red dots here, and then in the information panel on the left, you'll get company information, including website and a telephone number. Boom. It's the easiest possible way. Everybody knows how to use Google Maps, so this is not brain surgery, but just so you don't forget to do the most obvious things. So this is you, Anna. You want to talk about what you say when you pick up the phone. This is real important for a lot of people.
Yes, and I see some comments on the chat that people are really interested in kind of having a checklist, a breakdown. I mean, we only have an hour today, and we're trying to cover a lot. So essentially, our agenda is the checklist. So you can reference it the way that we structured it. Every slide is a solution for a question that you might have, and then depending on your process and kind of where you are and the school and students, different slides might come handy for you. So just wanted to give that quick shout out that use these slides for those specific references. So what do you say? I know we talk a lot about, and a lot of this session is how do you convert opportunities. There are a lot of existing relationships with employers that you guys have, and these are employers that have brick and mortar offices, and they used to work well, and I know a lot of relationships have been kept for years, and now it is it's not the same. So definitely, we are in difficult times. Last year has been really difficult for a lot of businesses. A lot of businesses closed. So one of the key things to mention, and we put it as point number one, when you are reaching out to existing contacts, have a human touch. Maybe start a conversation by checking in how employers are doing, how are their families, how is their business, and being genuine and kind of allocating maybe not 5 minutes, but maybe 15 minutes for a conversation like that, because oftentimes employers offload so much. There's so much going on, so much has happened in their life. Giving them space. Also, keep in mind that a lot of employers are no longer in business, or are struggling to sustain their businesses. So they might not be open to even talking about internships, because they just, all of their effort is centered on staying alive and keeping the business going. All of those things are real, and all of that kind of needs to be part of your I want to say emotional intelligence when you pick up the phone and connect. And also don't take it personally if employers that you've had a going relationship for years and years is not picking up the phone. Maybe things are not going well, and they might just need time. And that's why a lot of our presentation today is also centered around how do you find new opportunities, how do you build new relationships, because what we find, there is definitely a transition, and maybe we need to give more times to employers that we worked in the past. Maybe they'll be come back, or they will come back around when city opens up fully, and they get inflow of business again. But maybe at the moment it's also important to kind of dedicate some of the time to developing new relationships. So these are some questions that you want to talk about in your conversation, or kind of structure your conversation around for existing businesses. And also, when you are outreaching new businesses, talk about that this is a funded opportunities that students are getting paid through GOE, and that oftentimes brings a lot of excitement. Maybe this is a reminder that students are supported, and now more than ever, students are engaged within industries, and they're building skills, and they're qualified. And even these conversations, they can change mindset of employers, because employers might feel like there's such a struggle out there, can't find anyone, nobody wants to work. But when you bring this conversation forward, it changes their mindset and how they look at possibilities and opportunities, and that makes a lot of sense for a lot of employers. So we've been really successful with kind of starting out conversation that, we have funding for internships. We know that you have a demand for growing your business and kind of expanding it in a digital remote setting. We're here to help, and we have the right candidates for you. So this is kind of the approach and angle that we take when we start the conversation. I wanted to bring your attention to work-based learning toolkit. I know a lot of you have been using it for years and years. It has been updated recently, so make sure you visit the toolkit to make sure that you get all the support. I saw some of the questions around virtual internship and what that's like and what's the structure. So there's a lot of information there. So definitely take advantage in viewing it and asking questions later at your time. So what do I say? Strategies for building and maintaining all partnerships. Again,
so I just want to interrupt. I think everybody can read, and they can screenshot just for the sake of moving it, because I know that we want to get to the presentation at the end. These are supplemental strategies. These are not really the focus, but they should definitely be kept in mind when you're on the phone with an employer. Again, screenshot it, or you can go back when you're looking through it. So this is really how to stay organized and what to do, literally steps to follow when you're picking up the phone. Do you want to talk about this? You want to present the
I can quickly go through it. So with business development, it's very easy to get carried away, start calling people, and then forgetting to get back to them just because you're kind of moving through different numbers, you're doing the search. So it's important to keep yourself organized. And it's quite simple. It does require kind of a setup at the start. So my suggestion would be to create an Excel spreadsheet, have different columns there, and these are some samples. So every time you find a business, just plug in the information so that it's easier for you to reference back. Because again, with business development, when you make the first call, it does not mean that this is going to be the only connection with this employer. Keep in mind, you might need to connect with this employer maybe 2, 3, 4 times before solidifying the internship. It could be by mail, it could be returning the phone call, it could be checking in on them if they, looked at the material that you send and if they're ready. So you do need to keep track of that, of their contact information, and just email so that you feel organized and in control of the process. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, creating templates for cold calls. and follow-up emails. For everyone who's on this call or in our breakout room, we'll be sending some scripts so that in templates that you can use, or maybe change them a little bit to make sure that you speak in your own voice when you're reaching these employers. But this is good to have, because you don't want to be reinventing the wheel every time. And it might feel a little robotic at first when you're like using the script and following the script, but you'll get your own voice, and it's going to go really easy and quickly once you have that as a baseline. Doing the research, as we were talking about, and all the things that we were showing, research is critical. The research can be done in like little chunks of time, and you can create that lead list and the for people to call, so you don't have to jump from task to task. So if you create, let's say today you have 30 minutes to devote to business development, so you find 10 leads, you put them on a list. Tomorrow you have a list of people to call, and sometimes you leave a voice message and sometimes you talk to someone, but you kind of quickly go through the list, and it just speeds things up. It saves you time, and it saves you don't feel overwhelmed between all the business development sort of activity and tasks as well. Step number 4 is follow-up. Follow-up is everything. We follow up a lot with employers. So after each phone call, make sure you have the email, you send them information, then maybe a couple of days later, confirm the time when they're available to connect again. Connecting, following up, creating calendar reminders to follow up with employers is critical. So Suzanne, you're doing the demo?
I was on mute.
That's fine.
So yeah, there's so many different potential responses that we could not possibly, do a role play for everyone. We're just going to do a quick role play real quick so that we can show you what it might sound like with these responsives. Somebody who's totally not interested, somebody who's uncertain, somebody who's, I don't know, they're like being a little wishy-washy, and somebody who's actually eager to host. And we'll just randomly pick one and go through it real fast. So let's just do a phone call, Anna.
All right. Well, hello, Suzanne. My name is Anna, and I'm a work-based learning coordinator for the CTE program. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Anna?
I'm well. Thank you. It's such a lovely snow day in New York City. How's the weather where you are?
Snowy.
All right. Excellent. So I'm actually calling today because I saw that you had a posting online and you were looking for a social media intern. Is it an active listing?
It is. It is definitely active.
So I run a program, and I have a lot of students who are interested in opportunity, like you've posted, and wanted to find out if you would like to, learn more information about the program that we have. This is a program where we helping students that are studying technical. They're on tracks for a variety of different technical programs, and they want to learn, and they're really passionate about this industries.
How old are these students?
So students are high school seniors. We are talking about 17, 18-year-olds, and they've already been doing 4 years of technical training. So in addition to their normal academical requirements to graduate high school, they have a lot of skills that you've listed in your post.
Okay, listen, I don't have time right now, but this could be a very interesting situation, I guess. Do you have any information that you could send me? I have a lot of questions.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to share. We have resumes of students. We have some of the
I'd love to
programs.
see resumes.
You listed that you use Slack and Trello. Our students know how to use this, so
No
they're
kidding.
really comfortable. Yeah, they're really
Great. I don't have time right now, but my email is sgriff00@gmail.com. Send me some
Awesome.
information and I will take a look at it tonight, and I'll get back to you tomorrow because I do need somebody in place pretty quick.
All right. Well, I'll be happy to do that, and I'll call you tomorrow around this time so that we can check in.
No,
and
not
see.
tomorrow at this time. Not good.
Okay.
Call me at 10 in the morning. Can you do that?
Oh yeah, of course.
Fantastic.
You
All right.
got it.
Thanks, Anna.
All right, take care.
Bada boom. Okay. Quick role play just to give you some idea of how Anna is trying to get the key elements into her pitch. They're free. They're skilled. They have your skills. They're in the zone. What do you think? You know, and she's just kind of like laying out the basics so that she hooks my interest. I don't have time for her, but I want to see information. So I was being a little bit uncertain, but I was definitely showing interest. And I was like, you know, let's go, let's go. I've got stuff to do. That is typical of what you might come across, because small business owners have laid half their staff off because of COVID. They're doing the work. They're actually doing the work. They don't have time. Okay. I hope that was clear to everybody.
And again, this was just one example, and we've listed that employers could have different responses. So, you know, if their response is no, that's fine. Let's move on. There's others who are excited and definitely will benefit from working with students. So we just don't have time to, you know, to waste and try to persuade someone who just doesn't see the value in this. And that's just a general rule of thumb. All right, so remote internship is secured. Let's say you reconnected with employer that you worked in the past who hosted students in a physical location. Now they say, yeah, I want to give it a try to the remote opportunity. What do I need to do? So as many of you know, there's a host site agreement, there's a pre-site form, there's a lot of student enrollment documents. Always, we do connect students and employers in a virtual space for a meet and greet before the internship start date. There's day one. So there's number of things, number of documents. We'll be forwarding some of the information on to you, again, as a part of the sort of package after the presentation. But for those employers that are staying on, oftentimes, you know, their host site agreement is valid for a year. So making sure, and pre-site form is valid for about 6 months to a year, kind of depending on when was the last time of engagement with employer. So all of that information, you know, Travis team will be able to support and kind of answer questions if there are questions about the paperwork, but we want to make sure we save a little bit of time for Carl as well. So wanted to move on and give Carl our stage.